Cool. Welcome to In Cadence, Season 1, Episode number 10. 10, that's right, 10. A little disclaimer before we start, we are not actually entertainment professionals, but we've managed to scramble through this far, so here we go. I'm Keith, 43, and in the gloom, packs call me Flea, and I'm Nantan of the West Yorkshire region in the UK.
And I'm Ken, I'm 51, and I'm one of the AQs at the Brook in London. And I'm really, really pleased to be here with our amazing guest tonight. So do you want to introduce yourself, brother?
Yeah, hello, my name is Andrew Burrell. I'm 53. My name is Crust, and I'm from the office in Reading.
Respect.
Cool. Well, as we normally do in a beatdown, we'll get started on the Warmarama game. We had a little bit of feedback from PAX in the UK last week who threw out the suggestion of doing a little quickfire game to get to know our guest quite quickly with a couple of few things thrown out at you. And you've got to give a very quick, rapid response answer to the two options given to you. I'd love to take full credit for this, but kudos and T-claps must go out to Shaman in the Midlands who threw that over as an idea. So we'll give it a go, see how we get on. So, Crust, first question in our first ever cheese or chocolate game is cheese or chocolate?
Cheese.
Okay. Red or blue?
Blue.
Speed or comfort?
Comfort.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Birthdays or Christmas?
Christmas.
River or lake?
Lake.
Cakes or sweets?
Cakes.
Burger or steak?
Oh, steak.
And last question, carrots or peppers?
Peppers.
Well, now we have those deep, dark truths done from cheese or chocolate. We're going to jump into this next part of getting to know you, Crust, and it's the name game. And I'm going to start. Hopefully I'm not going to steal the police thunder here. I thought about it loads, and I thought you were talking about yourself and the things that you love. And somebody said to you, what is it you really love? And you said, when I eat my dinner and there's gravy there, I always ask for a big piece of bread with a nice crust on it, just to mop that gravy up and eat it. And people start shouting crust. So that's my theory.
It's got to be bread related. I mean, it's an obvious one, even though we shouldn't take your job or your work as your nickname. It happens. It happens. So maybe the obvious choice for me was you're a baker or something like that. But I think there's something a little bit more nuanced to it. I think maybe you're more in a non-baking role. Perhaps you work for a bakery company, but in sales or legal or something or finance within a national bakery chain.
Hey, both kind of close. So I'm a chef, but I do home baking. So I do like sort of breaking bread at home, and I mentioned that, and they sort of jumped on the crust bit straight away. So yeah, so kind of both right. Yes.
Excellent. My biggest advice, and it's the reason why my queen is out of the window or has been out of the window so recently, is because fresh baked bread is one of my biggest weaknesses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially with that salty butter on.
Yes.
I'm really glad Ninja doesn't have a bread maker as well as everything else. Otherwise. I mean, I like making it the proper way, like you would do, Crust, and just getting in there. I tried to make hot cross buns in lockdown, and then I realized lockdown was long, but not long enough to make hot cross buns. It was so slow. Good. Okay, so we know where you got your name from. Let's crack on then.
Yeah, we'll move on to on the next part of the Warmarama, which we now start to think about our BDs and what you like doing when you get out into the gloom. What would you say is your favorite exercise to do? What do you get excited about when you hear the cue shout out the next exercise is?
I love anything with a Cindy. I really, really like doing Cindy workouts. So, anything, sort of the rifle carry somewhere, the curls for girls, shoulder presses, anything like that. Anything to do with, a Cindy beat down, I'm there 100%.
Does that extend to sandbags as well? So it's anything that's functional or heavy?
Yes. Yeah. Something you got to sort of, lift over your shoulders and that type of thing. Yeah. Yeah,
that's my bag as well.
Yeah.
So if I was to ask you the inverse question, let's just see if it aligns with what my answer would be. So what's your least favorite exercise that makes you go, oh no?
Burpees. Yeah. And I know they're so good for you. I know they're, a really good workout. But I just, as soon as I hear a burpee, I'm like, oh, yeah. So that's my down one. And what about you? Does that align with yours, Flea, or?
No, it doesn't. I'm not a fan of the old running, the old pills on a string thing. If it's like, oh, do loads of heavy stuff here and then just run, and it's like, oh, now running.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
You've got to embrace it. Like you say, it's good for you, and it's part of the overall package, isn't it, of a BD?
Yes.
I do prefer burpees over running. Hey, get on and do it, don't you?
Exactly.
I definitely love the meme. burpees, but did you die? I feel like burpees are safer for us than running. But,
Yes, actually true. Yeah.
Running is functionally helpful at times, but
Yeah.
I do feel like if when you get told to run fast, I feel like unless there's a large dog, I'm not sure how fast I'm actually going to run. I've got a pace.
Yeah.
This is me, and this is it. Like, you're not running fast. No, this is me slow and fast. I'm in there. Right, Songorama time then. Not every queue likes using music, but we just wondered whether you did, and if you do like putting music into your BDs, where do you take packs with music when you're queuing?
So yeah, I don't do it all the time, but I do like to do a sort of a have a music round, sort of every now and again. And I suppose so I'm sort of old school in the sense that I do like I like U2, sort of rock rock music, that sort of type of thing. So I'll sort of try and do, or I'll try and do something quirky, like I might even try and throw in a Kylie Minogue song or something like that, something that sort of puts them off, so they're sort of wondering, what is this? But also something that sort of is, lively and, has got a good beat to it, so that you do sort of get into the, whatever exercise we're going to do, you actually get into it, you listen to the beat, you listen to the music, so it kind of, spurs you on to keep on going for the whole exercise.
Nice. So I'm seeing in my head straight away here, the Locomotion. It kills for girls because
straight to it.
Yes.
I do think, I have to say, look, I've got big respect for Kylie, but if we were playing Cheese or Chocolate and it was Kylie or Danny, I would always pick Danny off. I know, it's just the way I'm wired. But I'm thinking kills for girls, and then with the Locomotion, maybe kind of sort of rifle carry Mosey.
Yeah.
So that'd be your kind of jam then.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, that is going to be my next one. I'm queuing Tuesday, but the next one after that, I think will be in December. It's going to be Cindy and it's going to be Locomotion.
Do you know what? Please get somebody. I'm not saying get somebody to Starsky, but somebody really needs to put a bit of that footage, landscape on your phone and send it in to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should share that. That is right. Deal sold. Brilliant.
I was just saying to Shredder before the recording, I'm queuing tomorrow at the Mansion in Yorkshire, and I've got my theme. I'm doing a Macarena Monday, so you can guess what song's going to drop in there. Yeah. But I did have an exercise where I still had to choose the song for tomorrow, and I'm going to bring in either Locomotion or the Better the Devil You Know. I think great Kylie songs.
Yes.
Yeah, really good.
Bit of motivation.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Danny Minogue now. Sorry, Mum. We were told yesterday, we might talk about this more later, but we were told yesterday to visualize things when we were finding the work challenging. And some people were visualizing a meal or something like that. And that didn't work for me. But I won't say any more about that right now. Okay. We're going to get into the thing.
Yep. Time to get onto the thing and the main part of the questioning, really. And for me, it's coming to understand you and how you got into F3 Crust. What's your backstory and how did you land up in the gloom with the rest of us?
Yeah, well, I saw a post on Facebook. It was put out by Switch. He put out a post which I saw, so I sort of messaged him and just sort of asked him about F3. What was it about? So he just sort of said, look, we're meeting up on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So just if you want to come around, I suppose I didn't. I would go to the gym every now and again, so I wasn't like sort of constantly going to the gym. However, I would try and go, but there was never the motivation, I suppose, that you get with doing it in F3. So I just, it was through Facebook, and I went down for the first one, about a year and a half ago.
Excellent. And which AO did you pitch up to?
It would have been the office.
Which is Reading, if I remember right?
Yeah, Thames Valley Park. Yeah. It's just, I normally cycle in because it's just sort of about a 10-minute cycle for me. So it was really handy.
Yeah, so for our American and other nation listeners, Reading is northwest of London by about 40 miles, 50 miles?
Yeah, I think about
something like
miles.
that.
Yeah,
so 70, 80 kilometres northwest of London, outside of that big motorway around London, and on the outside of the ring road. Yeah, okay.
And the Thames Valley Park is on the north edge, right? The north.
Yes, it's just right in the outskirts.
Yeah.
So it's right down by obviously the Thames River. And it's in a sort of an office complex. So it's, it's been beautifully landscaped. So we're very, very lucky in that we have a lot of car parks that we can use, got a lot of space, everything like that. During the summer, we can go down onto the fields down right by the river. which is really good. It's like there's an extra sort of beat down during the summer. And then the winter, it's, it is, although it's in the gloom, it is always well lit, and the footpaths and everything like that are always sort of, well maintained and everything. So it's an easy place to sort of be able to move around a bit, summer or winter. So yeah, we're very, very lucky to have it. It's a real good little spot.
Yeah. I occasionally went that far into Reading from where we used to live, but mostly there's some shops, I think, on the town edge of the Thames Valley Retail Park. I think I got dragged to Hobbycraft a few times.
Yeah, that's right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of know the edge of that, but I've not had the chance to post with you guys yet. It's it's a little bit away from where we are. Okay, so 18 months ago, Switch got you in. Do you remember who your battle buddy was on the day? Do you remember what it was like for you experiencing being a friendly new guy in F&G for that first pitch up?
Yeah, I think my battle buddy was Switch, and I can remember. I don't remember a lot about the beatdown, my first beatdown, but I can remember leaving thinking I'll go back. One, because obviously the beatdown is really good, and if you're going to start doing something like that, you've got to continue on and maintain it. And I think it was very much that was a really tough beatdown. However, it was I didn't feel under pressure to be any good or be really fit or anything like that. It was it's you versus you. Just do what you can, mod down when you can, if you can, and just push yourself, but don't hurt yourself. Obviously, the thing at the start, and they were really friendly, and it was a nice, welcoming atmosphere, which is what I remember. And I can remember just thinking, I'll go back for the workout, but also because they seemed like a nice group of people. So it was sort of both those things.
Excellent. So again, if people are in Reading area who are listening and do fancy coming down, so Thames Valley Park, if I remember right.
Thames Valley Park, yeah. The postcode is RG6 1PT. And when you go into the Thames Valley Park, we're the second roundabout, just on the right-hand side. You'll see us obviously with the flags. It's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and it's from 5:30. So, yeah.
Like every location, you're on f3near.me as well, so that helps everybody who's looking in to find their nearest BD anywhere. I had a follow-up question about the location. You mentioned being able to use the fields by the Thames. Large amounts of the Thames have got the Thames path that runs all the way along. Is that on your bank or is that across the other side?
No, that's on our bank.
Okay, so have you made use of any kind of explorations along there as part of BDs, or was that too much?
A little bit. I did it actually once during the summer. We went for a bit of a sort of mosey, a little bit sort of further than what we normally do. But yeah, we normally just sort of run mosey a fair bit just around that area. But I mean, it's quite a big sort of area, so it was sort of spoilt with choice with regards to going along that. But I mean, it is quite a large grassy area that's sort of fairly well maintained. So it's quite easy to just sort of go to different bits all the time. So it's good like that.
Do you have a gear store on site, or do you have to bring everything in and out?
We have to bring everything in and out. So, it's normally whoever's doing the the next beat down will take the kit with them when they're leaving, and the coffee as well or whatever, But, we all share it, and, there's only someone with the car, so it's fairly
Because you're on
handy.
a bike, right? So you're not got a Cindy block on your bike, have you?
No. I'll drive down if it's a Cindy block, or obviously on Tuesday when I'm queuing. Yeah. I'm not that confident on the bike. That would be the workout anyway.
Right.
But yeah.
So I just want to come back to how you saw the advert on Facebook, and what, apart from seeing it and go, that sounds okay, I'll go to the gym a bit, and it's a different type of workout. Was there any other underlying things that you were feeling that made you think, yeah, actually, I need something like this?
I think one of the things from what I can remember was, I think he just sort of put down that it's free, but that didn't necessarily jump out at me. And I think it was just, it's free, it's open to all men, over 18, and it's always outdoors, and it's peer led. So, it wasn't just a, this is a workout, come down and do an hour or whatever. It was, there was a little bit more description of it, which, was like not against the norm, but wasn't the normal description of a gym workout. And the fact that it was outdoors was sort of something different as well. So, yeah.
Good. I mean, I lived near Reading, which is why I spent time there in the past. And our eldest boy was born in Reading Hospital. And obviously you often think, I wish I could have started this earlier. I know one or two people further west in the Newbury area, and I've been telling them about you guys and saying, it would be cool for you to get there. I recognise it's a bit of a jaunt. So hopefully you guys will start to expand, start fish out, and just fill this Berkshire corridor above the M4. Some more groups.
Well, I was speaking to, there is one of our packs, Crowbar. I did ask him, could I mention him? And he said yes. So he's sort of starting to look for a site for another, to plant another area. So he's just, at the moment, he's just looking. But yeah, it's definitely, in our thoughts to do something like that. So yeah.
Is that in the direction further northwest away from London direction, or is that?
Yes, yeah, more into sort of Berkshire, Hampshire sort of area. Yeah, so yeah.
Nice.
Definitely.
I mean, Reading's grown so much, hasn't it, as a kind of entity, even though it's not the biggest of parts of the southeast, it is still a large amount of people, big hospital. The growth around the M4 corridor has been huge. Obviously there's the Shinfield Film Studios just across the motorway there. And then you're going out into Thiel and you almost meet Wokingham, really, don't you? And then it comes down towards Bracknell, and then you head towards where we have more, obviously Yateley, and then Lightwater now. And then before you know it, you're hitting Guildford, and then you're hitting this kind of bigger group of us. But you've definitely got room. Basingstoke is not a 10-minute trip. Basingstoke is an amazing large place, lots of parks. Again, Newbury, Thatcham, which is where I used to be. Yeah, I mean, there's a rich pickings there for packs who've got a heart to be able to reach out. So you Crowbar.
Yes.
Crowbar. So we need to remember that brother.
Yes.
Got some prayers for him as he tries to work out what to do.
Yeah. And of course, there's also the link in Yateley as well. And, I think they're sort of going from strength to strength as well. They've got a good little group, and, so yeah, they're going on. So I think, they'll start recruiting as well. And yeah.
Season 1 will never end.
Yes.
We'll never stop asking people about the starting of their places. Okay, so 18 months, right? 18 months in?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Generally, obviously, you've been to the office, you're cycling in, you're driving when you need to. Have you thought about your movement from that beginning where you thought, you know what, that is a bit of me, to now? And have you got a sense of how you feel like you've grown through your time at the office and being part of F3?
Yeah, definitely. I think the one thing that I sort of found with myself, and it was one of the beats that we did sort of last year, and it was the theme was how do you eat an elephant? It's obviously not all at once, but that I think more than anything else has really sort of stuck with me, and I've found that within my life, in work, at home, within F3, that I break down, if there's things that I need to do, I will break it down and, compartmentalize it. So I don't get overwhelmed by what I have to do. If you do little things at a time, you will get the end result. If you're really busy in work, you just try and do what you can because you can't do everything. But you will be able to complete a task if you take your time and do it properly. And I think that's been the one thing I've noticed, certainly with my work life, but then obviously with home life as well. Just not to get overwhelmed with things that happen. You can work them out, but deal with one thing at a time. And that's been something that I've sort of found that I've definitely taken on board from F3.
Thank you.
How would you say your first F, your king, has changed over those 18 months? Your overall fitness levels and general well-being?
Oh, definitely. I mean, definitely gone up. I mean, I feel much fitter. And I feel much fitter physically, but I mean also mentally. I think just because it's getting up in the morning, it's getting out and about. It's using all your senses to do a beat down. Obviously to lead as well, to cue is something that's sort of taken me out of my comfort zone in many ways. So that physically and mentally, it's definitely helped. Obviously, I get you get aches and pains as you do, but I found as well that I'm recovering from it a lot quicker and a lot easier as well. So, there's not sort of the same sort of problems.
Question, I like that. Good work, Flea. I like that one.
I've got some more good ones as well. I've just These are unscripted questions, guys. Let's wing it. Let's go for it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Have you managed to, I say Shredder was in there, you're at the sort of extremities of the cluster of F3 locations we've got around London and the offices furthest northwest we've got. Have you managed to cross-post to any of the other locations a little bit closer to London?
I've gone to, well, obviously the one in Yateley, but I've also done a couple of convergences. So I did the Cardinal convergence in January, and then I was up at the one in the Midlands during the summer, and then obviously the one with Shredder a couple of months ago. So that's been the 3 that I've done so far. But I do hope to, I'll try and get out to sort of one of the, some of the other AOs, just to pop in and say hello and sort of see what they're like.
Excellent. So we will have to go back now and although everyone watching will have to go back to the opening credits, the opening start, and see if they can spot you on the circle doing those groiners.
Yes.
Because that's the drone footage. So you'll be on there somewhere. It's just where you are on there,
absolutely,
so.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cardinal conversions that we did in January was an incredible honor, wasn't it? I mean, it was -8. It was especially cold. I mean, I've got a couple of flipping questions before we go back to good ones. I noticed, obviously, there was some ZZ Top beards that were very frozen. Did you get a frozen moustache? You've got a proper Tom Selleck moustache going on there.
Well, I'm actually doing Movember, so I did have a beard with me for the Cardinals convergence, but I do just remember the grass being frozen and
Right.
sort of getting down on your knees and just crunch and sort of nearly cutting your knees on the grass. It was that frozen. I could remember driving out of the car park at the end, and we sort of came out and obviously you turn right to go home, and it had got bright by then, and you could just see the white rugby field that we had done it on, and just this massive green area where obviously we had done the beatdown, which I thought was pretty cool. Yes, yeah, but that was a great beatdown. That was a great convergence. That was really, really good.
It meant so much, I think, and I remember, because it's interesting, guys. Actually, the first post has gone up about the 2026 January Centurion Burpee Challenge, and about a week into that, I was doing it with a 20 kilo vest on, and I aggravated my lower back, and I was a few days where I couldn't do anything, and I felt quite sorry for myself, and I'd HC'd for that, and was gonna just smart sack and not go, and somebody, it may have been Walter, somebody just said something very kind and said what we always say to people: look, if you are a bit injured and you can come, still come and do what you can do. And got so much out of it. The 80 of us or so that there were, that we crunched up and down on that grass and the frozen beards, and it will never leave me how, when we were doing the Warmarama near the end, do you remember we had Radio Gaga, which is back to your 80s rock?
Yeah.
And there were so many of us. I think the queue was too far away from the speaker in the middle, so it kept cutting out. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And most of us were singing when it wasn't going, and we were like, like the Radio Gaga claps.
Yeah.
It was just such good camaraderie in honor of Cardinal. That's not why we want to converge, but it was so good to remember that fallen brother with the guys. And my other question, which was slightly flippant, was being a chef. I heard a similar proverb to you, which was, how do you clean an elephant? Just a small bit at a time. But you've just gone full carnivore here and said, how do you eat an elephant? And I just wondered if anybody listening, if you do have any good recipes for elephant, could, let's not, but yeah, I think that's a good idea, isn't it? Just remembering sometimes we just take it a piece at a time, a step at a time, and we do it all together. That's one of the things that's fusion. To me, that's the real power, is that this is us finding a better way to do life together. You got some more real questions, Flea? I go away from cooking elephants.
I was going to go back to bread, to be honest.
Go on.
I'm quite hungry at the moment. I'm on calorie deficit, so I'm happily talking about bread. What's your favourite type of bread to knock up when you're at home? Well,
I like either a Irish soda bread, which is sort of nice and quick to do, and I sort of mix it with a lot of porridge oats as well, so it sort of gives it that sort of crunches on the outside as well. And then I just like doing like a nice sort of Irish batch loaf, which is like a sort of white bread, but it's in a square tin, so you get like a real nice sort of crust on it. But I mean, as you said before, Flea, any type of cooked bread, freshly done. It's lovely. Yeah, yeah. Baguettes as well, like with garlic. Garlic and stuff like that. It's just you don't like
I'm
garlic.
salivating here. You won't see it on the audio version of this, but I'm drooling out the side of my mouth.
Drooling like Homer Simpson. Well, when we were at Newlands Corner and we talked for a few minutes, obviously being a full Irishman, you are, and I'm only kind of soda bread. This is one of my treat things. Sometimes if we're in Marks and Spencer's, have a very nice, like, batch made, bulk made soda bread. And I'll quite often buy that and have a quarter with some lunch, with some eggs and tomatoes and mushrooms and maybe a bit of bacon medallions, and trying to keep my deficit up too. But oh yeah, that is the stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Now I'm thinking about Guinness Zero, actually.
That's the swing completely the opposite way.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. We need to edit out the food. Good. If I can get to 80 kilos from 87 or whatever it is, maybe this might kind of just go in a bit.
Just do what I do. Just go strategic stubble to hide the chins.
Well, I've got some here, but this is about as long as I like to get it. Otherwise, I'll get told no kissing for you, mate. This way, isn't this out? I'll just staple it in. Yeah.
Danny Minogue doesn't mind, I hear, so you'd be fine.
Don't even go there. This is not staying in.
It is. I'm editing it. It's staying in. I'm going to have to put a picture of Danny Minogue up now, just for those viewers who don't know who she is, and I'll put a Kylie Minogue up as well.
Tell you what, I'm just saying at this point, if you put them both up in their gorgeous prime, I'm not saying we should have a vote off, but seriously, we should have a vote off.
Hey, this is we did cheese or chocolate at the beginning of the podcast. We can now do Danny or Kylie.
Danny or Kylie
for any future guests.
And is this Shredder? Is this Danny in Home and Away?
No, and I say this with all seriousness because do you know what? One of the exercises that I don't know if Toffee told you about yesterday, he told you about the crab walks. Did he tell you about the elephant trunk?
Yes.
Right. When we were doing the elephant trunk walk at Newland Corner as a platoon of 16 of us, so you put your right hand through your leg, and then the person behind you grabs your right hand with their left hand, and you walk in a sort of human chain. And I'm not going to name any packs, but I'm really, really excited at the age of 51 that in the distance, there were a number of our packs that were embarrassed because we were going to elephant walk past these two pretty young girls. And they're embarrassed because they were like, well, they're really gorgeous. And I'm like, they're kids. They're kids. And I just saw them. I was like, they're just two nice kids. They're about 20. They're just sitting there having a chat. I have no embarrassment about doing this, but you could see some of our young brothers were a bit like, they do look quite fit. Are they going to think I'm a wally doing this? And I'm like, you know what? This is not the reason they think you're a wally. We're here. We smell from a distance. And one of our illustrious guests, Westy, went back on a train home from King's Cross. He left the event yesterday, straight to King's Cross, made his train by 6 minutes. We think he went nearly naked because most of his clothes were found left in the rugby club at the end of the event. And he confessed to being surrounded by a large group of young, pretty people who'd come down to watch netball in London. And basically he stank like he'd been dragged through the Guildford and Surrey countryside for 7 hours because he had. All I wanted to know was, did he set an alarm clock so he didn't wake up in Edinburgh and go in? I definitely need to cut that out. But I will add Daniel Kyle. Brilliant. Good. Come on, Flea. We've got some more questions to ask across here.
Well, in our leadership development process, failure is called one of our greatest teachers. Have you got an example you could share with us on when you failed? Tell us a bit about how you've helped you develop further, and how your leadership has become stronger because of that failure.
I have found that I can be quite lazy. So I will sort of put things on the long finger. Once again, it goes back to what was said before with how to eat an elephant. So I will put things either on the long finger or I will do it half-heartedly and sort of do a rubbish job or something like that. And once again, I've found with F3, and once again with the the process of breaking things down and doing things bit by bit, whether it be queuing, whether it be, in work or home life, that if I don't look at the job as a whole, but if I look at, parts of the job, if I do little bits to begin with, when you get to, the end, it's much easier because, you've done the hard work beforehand, or you've done the little bits beforehand, and it sort of comes together a lot easier. So I found that obviously with queuing, you don't sort of do it the night before. You have an idea when you first realize that you're queuing in a couple of weeks, and you just sort of build on that. I've found that obviously with work as well, and home life, with dealing with, 2 kids, dealing with my wife. Just it's been that. It's just sort of not putting things off, but doing them, but looking at little bits to build it all up to, to the final bit.
Should we move on to some £1 million questions now?
Can we do the quick finisher first?
Ooh, I've gone off script. Let's rewind back and ask your question, Shredder.
Boop. There you go. Well done. Told you, not professionals. Yeah, in your time in F3, obviously, in these 18 months, you've learned and you're reflecting and you continue to grow. But I guess because we know a little about you from this discussion, but not a lot. My question to you is, how has what you've done in the gloom then translated out? What's the best thing that's happened in this last 18 months because of this movement into F3? Where has it taken you outside of those BDs?
I suppose when I was, thinking about that question, I suppose one of the things was, it's 2 things that sort of spring to mind that as sort of stuck in my mind. One of them, the first one was, and I think I mentioned it, Shredder, when at that convergence that we were at, was I went into, I had a bit of a, the sad clown sort of episode, where you sort of beat yourself up and everything's wrong, and so on and so forth. But I can remember going to Beatdown and not particularly wanting to be there, but I went anyway, just sort of put my head in. I can remember getting down there, locked my bike, and one of the guys came over, put his arms around me. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? And that was it, and just walked off, and, I just said hello. But it was just that little human contact, human emotion. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. How are things? That just sort of snapped me out of it straight away. And it was a real sort of light switch moment of, come on, it's just you. Your sad clown's taken over. Get rid of it and move on. And then the other thing was, a couple of months ago, a very good friend of mine died. He passed away. And I can remember being in work. I got into work and I got the text on my phone, and it was a real, he had been unwell for a while, but it was still a shock. And I can remember sort of, sitting down, trying to catch my breath. It was, real sort of like a, punch to the gut type of thing. But I can just remember thinking that, and it was a Friday, I can remember thinking, on Tuesday, I'm going to be going to F3. And it was like, best way I can describe it was like an anchor that just stopped me from, sort of, slipping away type of thing. It was a real, once again, it was another moment. It was a real, whatever else is going on, F3 is going to be there on Tuesday. The guys are going to be there. I mean, I didn't mention it to them on Tuesday either. So it wasn't even that I was, going to go down and tell them or sort of, speak about it. But it was a moment that I knew that out of anything in my life, apart from my family, anything else in my life, F3 was there. They're going to be there Tuesday. The guys were going to be there, and I was going to get to do a beat them and to have a chat with them afterwards. And that was another sort of, it was those 2 moments that I think have really sort of cemented my my journey, I suppose, in F3.
Thank you. That's really, really precious words. That clown comes back. That's an interesting, don't know what the right phrase is. I wonder how many packs experience that, but I wonder how much we actually think about that, because it's almost, perhaps a lot of people expect when you get into it and you go, yes, this is me, you kind of feel like you might kill the sad clown inside you. But it's interesting, isn't it?
I think that's the one thing I've found with F3 is that, or, I suppose with sort of life in general, is that like it's every day you've got to get up and, start again, do it again. But, I think with F3, it gives you the stability to be able to do that. And I think we all, I mean, presume, I think we all have sad clown somewhere lurking in the background that, it still is there. And I think, I wouldn't say you'd be naive to think that it goes away. I don't mean it in that way, but I think it does sit around there, just, and it, waiting to pop out when it can.
I think you've said some fantastic things there, Cross. There's three things there that just stick out to me. One, how you said anchor and the F3 community and the beatdowns in your calendar every week. It's there. The guys will be there every week. It's there, and it's that distraction is a great analogy for what you've said. The second point about how it's a daily battle when we talk about the red pill and doing that on a daily basis, and we've got these daily buckets, shall we say. And if you've got that anchor first thing in the morning, you get out, you go and do that gloom, you get that human contact, that discussion, you go through that hard thing together with someone else, and you get that out of the way early. And it's a daily thing. And I'm at a point now where I have to go and do something first thing in the morning daily. That's generally F3. I try and post several times a week if I can, but if not, it's a ruck, or I take the dogs on a long extended walk. I need to get out first thing and do it. Clears my head, and it sets me up for the day. And the third thing about that, what you said about the sad clown syndrome, I mean, like you said, Shredder, it's not something we hear much of as a phrase, but the phenomenon is quite prevalent. And I think a lot of us do suffer with it. And I'll put my hand up and say, yeah, I've been through that. And it's not an on-off thing. It's not a binary on and off. You're either sad clown or you're not. It's dynamic. And it can be dynamic and change from day to day. And it can go to different extremities. You could be feeling really depressive one day, and then the next morning you get up and you feel relatively okay. And it's not a consistently stable state of mind that you're in. So yeah, some really good things you said there, and it's really interesting to hear how you've gone through them and how you reflect back on it. Really, really great comments there. Thank you.
I think as Flea has unpacked that a bit with you, it's more of a vernacular way of perhaps, Dredd says we need to be accelerating the daily red pill, but what you're expressing there, because he says if you're not, then you're not static, and that's true. You backslide, you fall back, and you're saying that in a very straightforward wording. And I think that's no bad thing, because you do find some habits that have become, motivation's crap. Motivation is just a poor emotion, and other people can't motivate you. And your best motivation, it's a gentle tickle for a while. It doesn't last. Just to think about that reality that you could come past this honeymoon phase and you go, right, I still need to be pushing. And you listen to someone like Dredd say, well, look, the reason I've got a Garmin watch is, I think you said this recently, listening to another Whetstone, so I can look at the metrics and go, have I worked it harder this week? Yes, I'm getting older, but have I worked harder? Have I pushed? And some packs say, if I don't get out, then I'm a miserable so-and-so. And I think lots of us can relate to that. That is a precious offering. Thank you for saying those things. That's really, really good. And I love that phrase as well, putting something on the long finger.
So I think it's an Irish thing.
I think it must be.
Yes, yeah.
Well, that's grand. I like that one.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, there you go. £1 million questions?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping I know the answer to part of this one. I'm going to start with, what's in your perfect cooked breakfast?
Well, I mean, obviously the soda bread.
Right.
But I love a bit of smoked salmon and scrambled egg. But not mixed. So you do the soda bread, smoked salmon, and the scrambled egg on top. But yeah, and really nice, a really good smoked salmon, I don't think you can beat that. Loads of black pepper. They just set you up for the day.
You've just said Flea's magic words.
Yeah.
That's my hotel breakfast. If I'm traveling with work, if I'm downrange, that's my load my plate up with free smoked salmon. I really thought you were going to drop the words white pudding in there.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, white and black pudding.
Oh my goodness!
And black, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Galty white and black pudding, right?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah.
We used to have an Irish shop in the town I grew up in Rugby, and not only did they sell these pasties, which fueled our teenage drinking years, they were just a little one, just a snack, up to this one that was basically half a plate, stacked full of tatties and meat. But they used to sell the black and the white pudding. In fact, we have a shop round the corner that still sells the Galty white pudding.
Really? What?
In Morden. Yeah, because London's good at things like that,
Yeah.
Okay, if you could be lucky enough to be blessed by Shredder's magic wand, and he could bestow upon you any magic superpower, what would you wish to be blessed with?
To fly. I was thinking about it, but I think just, to fly would just be, you could just go anywhere. Yeah, absolutely. Flying.
Any speed or just generally go?
Just generally, I mean, I suppose, if you could sort of get to Europe in, an hour or so, days,
This is only the second time we've asked that question, by the way. Gust answered with considerable aplomb with his one. I like that as well. Fly. You go and get yourself good smoked salmon from somewhere.
Absolutely, yes.
So if you could EH anyone, it could be someone around today, someone historical. Who would you want to? And sometimes if you're queuing, there's an issue where names come up and you might have to help make a decision. So imagine you were there and you went, actually, I'm going to have to choose this now. Who would you EH and what would you call them?
Well, I think if it was going to EH someone and they're going to join our AO, from me, I think it'd probably have to be Bono from U2. Just to sort of have him as a PAX, someone who I'm going to see every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I think his name would have to be Bono as well. I think that would, I don't think you could call him anything else.
Why Bono over the edge? Just out of interest.
I suppose just because he's the lead singer. And
what about the other two at the back that no one knows the names of?
Larry and Adam. Yeah, I suppose maybe Adam, or if we could get all four of them, it'd be brilliant.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had the edge, the problem is you'd want to call him Strings, and we've already got a string. So
we've got more than one strings. We've got two, at least two.
Right? Isn't this an interesting thing? We were talking about this yesterday. We now have 3 Rockies. So there's a Midlands Rocky, there's a Surrey and Sussex Rocky. We just got one in Surrey and London borders, and somebody did say to me, "But we have one." I was like, we already have 2. And actually, with the way the UK's grown with all the regions, you're just going to have to accept that there's going to, because you can't go, hang on a second, let me check 400 names or 300 names. It's just not possible. You just have to go, So 3 Rockies. I'd love to know, what would we call Bono? There's got to be something witty in terms of their music.
Something like Wild Horse or something that's a little bit, not everyone knows the song.
But yeah.
I mean, they are so good. They're not a band that I've seen and spent endless time listening to, but the Joshua Tree is an incredible album.
I mean, that was our sort of breakthrough album, I think, and it opened up the States for them as well, and everything like that. I think it was
And the only time they ever got into trouble was when everybody woke up on their iTunes and found we'd all been given a free album.
Yes,
and everyone complained about it.
Yes,
I've still got it. I've still got it on my iPhone. It's free music.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know. Huck's been rocking out the music. Did you see this on the Circle of Trust podcast? There's a load of new little tunes that some PAX has done.
Yeah, it's a PAX called Beethoven.
Nice.
Beethoven. There's with the split in it.
Yes.
Yeah, and possible discussions about some customized Cadence music, maybe underway at the moment.
I'm also looking for that new version of the disclaimer as well. I definitely would like an upbeat disclaimer that has the 5 principles and the credo in it. I'd like to be able to kind of do that.
Your man for custom disclaimers and the like is the Fonz in the Midlands. He's got a whole back catalogue of fantastic ones he's done.
I might ask
the
him
different
about
AOs.
that, actually. I might ask him. He was a very good cadre for us yesterday. He was, yeah. I think that would be cool. I mean, I go past the rock crust into my main scene is metal, but you wouldn't have metal without rock, and you wouldn't have rock without the blues. So
absolutely, yes,
it's all good. Good.
Yep. And then final question from the £1 million questions from me is, how would you EH that next guy along? You've got someone in mind who you're thinking this could work. How would you finally convince him to come and join us?
Yeah, well, I've got a guy in work at the moment who's I've spoken to him a few times about F3. At the moment, he's moving house, so he's just bought a new place and he's just sort of moving into it. But he drives by the link every morning, but obviously it finishes too late for him to be able to get to work. But I've sort of said to him, looking at the office would then be perfect for you because, you could sort of, shoot straight up there afterwards. So I think in the next couple of weeks, but every time I see him, we always have a really good chat. He's gone through a sort of a few issues in his life in the last couple of years. So he's suffered mental health wise. And he's trying to sort of get himself back on track, and he knows this, which I think is why he's interested in F3. So I've spoken to him quite a bit, but I think it's for me with him, it's the continual, not badgering him, but every time I see him, he mentions it, or if I mention it, just to have a chat to him about it. And I think I think with him, just chatting to him each time, and I tell him a bit about our beatdowns and what's been discussed and that sort of type of thing. I think just keep on talking to him, and obviously keep on talking to him about mental health as well. And if he's had a bad day, he wants to have a chat, he got my number, so that type of thing.
Cool. Well, that's the end of the £1 million questions. Shall we have a quick summary of what's been going on and just understand why Shredder's not fallen asleep yet halfway through this podcast on a Sunday evening after having completed a full day beatdown and some crazy thing you did yesterday? Give us a quick overview, please, Shredder, of what you got up to.
Yeah, so yesterday I was with 32 other packs, and we went to the Valor event that was being hosted out of the way in Guildford. Started with a King Builder at 6:30 in the morning, 45 minutes, very atmospheric, very, very foggy. It was a bit like Cardinal Convergence, but minus the minus. Then we had a couple of hours in the classroom thinking about a number of different issues, really. Very interesting speakers. Then we had a shortened fitness test, actually. They sent us off on a 2-mile run, which was good fun. I do wish running didn't make me want to go to the bathroom. It does my head in. But I just want to say at this point, Maximus, you are an absolute legend. Genuinely, I've never run and may never run again without a dog involved a mile in 6.5 minutes, let alone then trying out a second one on top of it. We went through the first mile and the man shouted 6.5 minutes, and I was like, holy crap, I'm gonna like lose it. And Max is like, come on, let's go, Shredder, let's go. We don't know our time, actually. He thinks it was about 14 minutes for the 2 miles. I don't think it was. Wow. But I've never done 2 miles before in under 16 minutes and 45 seconds, but let's just say at the end of that, I was busting and I needed them to open the loose. And then from then on, the event really went for it. 2 platoons. We went up to the golf course. I was in charge, platoon leader for the first section after a bit of a test of how long people could hold packs over their heads. We eventually, with a lot of struggles, got up to the golf course. Then we went to Newlands Corner on a kind of very double speed march. Newlands Corner had a lot of fun. The number of highlights. Never before have I joined in doing sit-ups with a 12-foot log on my chest. We were doing log sit-ups, log presses. It was one exercise I couldn't do. Log good mornings. My low back started to pull and I just stopped for a minute. And as Homer said to me, he looked at me and he went, "You've got the largest part of that log at your end." And I was like, yeah, I think so. And 3 of us, you obviously joined in, Crust, with the crab walks and the bear crawls up that hill at Newlands, didn't you?
Yeah.
We carried 3 in 3s, incredibly large tractor tires down that hill to quite a long way down, at which point then in 3s we had to flip them back up the hill, and that was quite intense. And then a log carry in the dark back to the golf course. I'm going to say at this point, because it's fun, one of our cadres got us lost, and that made carrying our logs and everything else a little bit more challenging. But we got there, and those packs worked so hard, and we learned so much about working together and communication. Everybody had at least 20 kilo loads on their backs pretty much the whole time. I think the longest break we had was 10 minutes. We probably had a 10-minute... No, we had a sundowner, which was a bit more than that, but we didn't have many breaks. We worked really hard, and I would wholeheartedly say to any F3 packs who's thinking about it, the next year when we get either the chance to do a GTE or a Valor event, do it. We all got bricks. We were told to write our 6-word story on a brick. I'm going to say my story was, I'm not to be messed with. And obviously, some people tease me royally, but this brick was my reminder that I spent a long time being abused and bullied at work, which is an ironic thing to say when you're a pastor. But when I joined F3, I realised that I don't stand on my own anymore. And some men talked about far more serious things. Not that bullying is a joke, but far more serious things in their life. But none of us stand alone. And I thank God every day for all of the people in F3, because now I feel so much more confident. And it's not a sinister thing, but I feel so much more confident knowing that when somebody wants to think they can play with me, that I've got men that watch my six, and that every time they do that, what they don't realize is there's 100 men standing behind me in my six, just looking around going, what are we doing? What are we doing? You don't need to do this. So we had a fabulous time. We ate a lot of pizza at the end, and there was a lot of hugs. I do think Westy possibly went back to the Northeast mostly naked. It's a big love to him. I do believe we're posting your clothes to you, brother. But brothers, you'll see bits coming out about the Valor event. I'd like to do it again, and I'd love it if more of you were there too. I mean, we don't know where it will be, when it will be, but we learned so much about ourselves, and most of us really hurt today. Genuinely really hurt. You know, pain is temporary, and Valor was an amazing, amazing experience. So yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody that set that up. And yeah, thank you to everybody that worked really hard doing it. The packs, those 32 guys, phenomenal. I kind of wish we had the time to have a 30-second video from each one of them, or the organization, to do that, because they're just powerful men. And I was proud to be there with them as one of the oldest ones there, really. So yeah, there you go. Does that cover that?
Yeah, fantastic. It sounded like a great effort. I did have a quick catch up with Toffee this afternoon, and you gave me a very, very quick overview of the type of stuff you were doing. But, yeah, after 4 days beat down and very intensive work, I'm surprised you're still awake at this time on a Sunday night. So yeah, good work.
Do it.
Excellent.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, genuinely at the end, I could have put my pack on for a few more hours because I've spent a lot of time wearing it and I enjoyed it. I have some very strange bruises, but yeah, just so proud of those guys. So cool.
Yeah, we're looking to do a Yorkshire CSUP in January. I know there's a few guys from the mansion and the factory who have set up a little planning committee to look at what we could do. And so that's good. We're going to open that up to all of the UK packs if they fancy a little weekend away. Details to be confirmed. And the guys will be putting something on the UK band in the next week as to date and placeholder. So keep your eye out. You're always welcome up in Yorkshire, and we'll do something similar to what you described in terms of effort levels. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm not involved with it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the plans are. It should be great.
People need to get that in their diaries if they can. Then, even if you end up having to do a few days extra, even if you have to put in those shopping hours to free yourself up, brothers, it's worth the investment of, you know, Crust's good. See, you can just say, don't worry, I've made loads of food. No, I'm going away for it.
yeah. Put an advanced bread order in.
No, I mean for home. He can just set them up.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And they meant for us to bring us a load of bread to get us through.
Yeah, and then he could bring the bread with us. Today we have to have.
And you supply the smoked salmon.
Right. From the Yorkshire Rovers. This is a plan. I like this. Even I did get on board for that type of breakfast.
Nice.
Good.
You wanted to talk about third F events. Shredder, you got a little note?
There was, yeah. So there's actually one first F event, but that I wanted to go back to because as Crust was talking about different groups, podcast comes out on Wednesday, right? On Wednesday in the morning, lunchtime-ish, it'll be out. But Monday, Wednesday, and Friday this coming week, Boundary are doing something new. They're doing a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday evening BD group. They're just trying that and seeing if it will serve some people that they might normally see. So yeah, just big props to them really, because even though you talk about being free to do all of these things and we can get on with it, it's sometimes when somebody says something totally different, like some of our brothers in America were talking about how we reached the 60s and they were talking about a later in the morning BD series to try and grasp them. I just caught that Boundary thing last week and forgot to say we must big them up and also try and work out, perhaps our next episode, find out how it went. But the third F thing was Surrey London Borders, and also I think you're going to be getting some information through actually in Berkshire and Hampshire, Crust. We've got our Father Fitmas event coming up this Christmas, which is Christmas presents that go to the charity Oasis, who are trying to help. They do a lot of food work and a lot of project work in the sort of Surrey part, the out of London Surrey part, and the perception is deprivation and lack of income only happens in perhaps more urban places, but actually in the towns out there are people struggling. So they're doing food projects through the year, but Christmas project means Saturday the 29th of November. I think now there's going to be 2 mini Convergences happening. The circuit is hosting one, and packs are able to bring presents to that will new presents for children 0 to 18 that will be sent to Oasis, and also Lightwater I think are going to be doing this too. I hope I'm speaking this correctly, and they're going to invite some of you guys over if any of you want to come for a tasty Christmas themed BD. Last year, I think it was possibly Hollywood and Doc destroyed us in the Way car park. We did crawling Spider-Man merkins for 4 light posts, and it was vomitous. It was pure bile. I would take crab walks over that. That's how disgusting it was. But yeah, so end of this month, a lot of fun. Christmas presents for some kids who might not get them. Even if there's people who watch this podcast who aren't in F3, if you're in the Southeast region and that's something you're interested in, you can get in touch with us because we can easily organise receiving a donation to give presents to the kids this Christmas. So there you go. Bit of first F, bit of third F. That was a notice that I remembered. Should do.
I wasn't holding a glass to the door while the Boundary were discussing evening workouts. However, we have had the same conversation in Yorkshire about setting up an evening workout for tasting sessions. And we were looking to do that in the coming months. So it's actually quite, what's the word?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, just to cut through it. Yeah, why not? We're going to do it in the fourth quarter of the city that we're not in currently. So it's the south part of the city where we don't have an AO. There's quite dense industrial age housing, so lots of terraced houses. So there's quite a high population area. There's a great park right in the middle of all that housing. And we're just going to go there and perhaps pick 1 or 2 nights during the week just to give it a go, 6, 7 o'clock, something like that, and see who turns up.
I mean, even if you think about things where you are, Crust, I was just thinking about different parts of Reading that I knew, bits like the hospital from going to do visiting there, and where the uni is, in places like Caversham, or Caversham's closer to you, where people go towards Reading Festival. Even if the whole scale launching of another AO is a lot, you've even got areas in there where you guys could experiment if you wanted and go, you know what, Tilehurst, obviously, in from where IKEA and Sainsbury's are, on the M4, you've got the parkland areas there, haven't you, where often fairs and things used to happen. You never know. I mean, as much as you might end up expanding out and having a vision to expand out into the county itself, you've even got room if you ever get people inspired to go, you know what, we could try something on out there in the west, or we could try something down past the hospital in the south. Yeah, we're creative people, right? I mean, anything is possible. It's sometimes we just have to stop and go, I know we do that, but it doesn't mean we couldn't try that. Well, I'm really excited about that, Flea. I think that'd be really good. And we definitely have to check in with the Boundary boys and see how that goes. And if that generates, even if it doesn't generate morning interest, it may end up becoming something else. It's still outdoors. It's still open to all men.
We did talk about a second event as well for 2026, which was F3 Benidorm 2026. So we all go out, plant a flag on the beach in Benidorm, go out for a week, do several BDs through the day, and make a bit of a week out of it.
Well, you should speak to Mayor Freeze about that.
Right, but to leave right and find someone to take it over as we do plant that. It's fine going out for a week and then taking the flag back with you, but the plan would be to leave the flag there and for someone to take it on.
Yeah, I mean, you should speak to Mr. Freeze about that. He took a week back in South Africa, and got his brother and other people interested. Who knows? Many things are possible. Good.
Exactly.
Good.
Looking at this script that we follow meticulously, because we are professionals. Those AOQs and resource shakers out there let us know every fortnight about the new guys that have joined us. So here's the roll call of the last 2 weeks. Big welcome homes to the cockpit at the highway. In the Midlands region, we have Jetlag, Premium, Fine, and Underlay. At the Weir, we've got Jürgen. At Lightwater, Dre. at the circuit, Nardo, at the bridge, Skippy, at the landing, Spokes, and at the brook, we've got Forest, Rocky, Rebar, Godfather, and Scrum. So 5 FNGs at the brook in the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
Nice one, Shredder. That's the record so far and in Cadence roll calls. So well done.
That's the packs. It's nothing to do with me, genuinely.
That's fantastic. Yeah, whoever's
It's really
EHing down
exciting.
there is doing a great job. So, if those new guys, FNGs, welcome. If you bring someone else with you, wow. Yeah, suddenly we've got a nice headache is that we've got massive AOs and beatdowns and then even more nice problems to have. So yeah, fantastic and welcome.
Welcome home, all of you brothers. No, I genuinely, I'm so proud of Forrest. Came to Tuesday will be his 2-week anniversary, and he did 3 beatdowns and then bought his neighbor Godfather. Rocky is friends with Montana, one of our guys who was brought by Lemon, and Rebar was brought by one of the other guys, and Scrum was brought by Bishop, and Bishop's also trying to hook his other mate in. We have another one. Yeah, I mean, look, this is where it's legit. When the packs come and they recognize that the workouts are challenging, the community is meaningful, they're telling their friends, and that is, there is a danger, and I think that's where Dread's discussion about organizational structure, about keeping us like lizards, rather than bullfrogs, is so important, because we can get comfortable, right? I mean, we're all year plus guys in this podcast. We've all been here for a while, and there is a danger that people see this thing as theirs. Yeah, and it may inhibit us from fulfilling our mission. So I'm so proud of them. And yeah, Grum was the 20th in 4.5 months. And I think 15 to 16 of them are posting as regularly as they can. And that's not because the book is anything special. It's the same thing we're seeing in loads of AOs. You see the growth in the ones that have been going for a year, for 6 months, for 2 years. There's plenty of sad clouds out there, and we're going to get them. We're going to get them. So we do that best together. So exciting. So good. I can't, even though my body currently is going, what the hell have you done to me? I can't wait for Tuesday morning to get the bricks out with those boys and celebrate. So good. Good. Well, look, I've already kind of said massively respect to all of you packs who are doing this, but this is where it makes a difference. Seeing people, some people you've like Crust, you've said, you've got someone that you're working on, and some people come in because of that, and other people just have that moment where they go, you know what, there's no reason not to say to this person, I go to a workout group, it's free. Do you fancy coming to a free workout with me? It's very, very good, very challenging, very exciting. You know what? Winter is coming. I've got a couple of long EHs that did I tell you I started to EH my dentist?
No.
When he was working on my he took a wisdom tooth out and he damaged my tongue, Crust, and then he wanted to see me every month because I couldn't taste properly, and it was currently, at the time, it was permanently electrified. So he's like, I've got to see you. The third time I saw him, he said to me, because he gave me steroids, and I was like, are these going to make me hench? And he said, no, wrong ones. And I was like, yeah, I guess that. And then he said, but you look like you're doing a bit of exercise. And I said, I'm trying. And then he said, oh, you're 51. And I was like, yeah. And he said, I'm 46 and you look younger than I feel. And I said to him, that's because you need to work out. And then when he saw me a week ago, we had a talk about that, and I could tell he'd done something. And I said, so what have you been doing? Because you look like you've lost a few pounds. And he said, I've done a little bit of swimming. So there you go. That's going to be good for your core, good for your stress levels. So when are you coming to the brook then? And he said, it's a bit cold. I do want to come. Maybe write it all down. And he said, I will come in the spring. And I said, that's fine. I'm going to check in on you. Some of it's long, some of it's quick. Let's get these sad clowns in. Let's get them by hook or by crook.
Yeah, and just get talking. Like you said, Crust, you're working on your colleague. Shredder's working on his dentist. It could be your neighbour, could be anyone. But again, just talk, and people see the effects and see what the changes on your body and your approach and your mentality. So it should also come off in a positive light that people see the benefits you've got of the exercise too. And please share this podcast and YouTube links to those people as well. Use us as publicity, use us as case studies, and they can see people like Crust who've come and joined, and all the other guests we've had over the last 9 episodes before. Guys who just followed a Facebook ad or just followed an invite from a friend to come and do a workout, and they've got positive stories on the back of it. Like you've shared with us today, Crust. And, the next guest will continue to have as well. So let's keep going. Let's keep giving it away. Let's keep growing and serving as we move forward. And we might finally get to see series 2, Shredder, at some point. At the rate these AOs are creeping up, we're never going to get through season 1.
It's going to be like the Archers.
Just run for like 40 years and then
hopefully by then they'll have employed some professionals and we'll be just retired in Benidorm doing
that's my long-term plan. It's my long-term retirement plan is to sell up this house and move to Spain and then planting in Spain and in 15 years.
Nice. I'd still like to go to New Zealand. We need to kind of hit the down under brigade, and I do think New Zealand is the perfect place to go. God in all wisdom put almost everything poisonous on one island called Australia, and then next to it is a paradise called New Zealand.
Absolutely.
I would go
With
back
sheep.
there in a heartbeat. With sheep, yes, but you know what? Oh my goodness, I'd get so fat in New Zealand. The food is phenomenal. Definitely need F3 just to. And I know you can't out king your queen, but I bet the smoked salmon's good. Crust.
Absolutely.
Crust, have you got any final words for us?
No, just thank you very much for having me on. And I think, as you said, once again, just F3 is something that's really, really important, I think, for men out there, for your mental health, for your physical health, and for your well-being. I've, really enjoyed it, my journey so far, and I've really benefited from it. And I think it's a great thing that we have, a great gift that we've been given. And
Thank you. Well, look, especially trying to work out doing this with us is not an easy thing. So thank you so much for being here tonight with us. And thank you to everybody that tunes in. Please send me some of the figures. I'm now sure it's not just my mum, which is good.
My mum as well.
It's your mum as well. No, it's really, well, thank you to everybody that's viewing, and we'll be recording again soon. In the next episode, we'll go in 2 Wednesdays time for us. So we will see some of you in the gloom, but until next time, that's all from us in Cadence in the UK. I'm reaching out to you wherever you are. We'll see you soon. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.